Isn't it interesting how some people get a change in perspective, a shift in perspective when it's your money on the line?
Hey, yo, you check the mic, 1, 2, we clear, ready to transmit. Pro fan hoops on the court, we got the game lit. Not talking highlight reels just for the common glance. We talking dedicated skills, taking every chance. From logo threes to rebounds, Chicago got the me bounds. Asia got 3 chips, Las Vegas aces in the town. You tune into the channel if you want to get the facts. Women's basketball is fire, no need to relax.
What's going on? This is Coach Marcus for Pro Fan Hoops. We are in the building, and we talking about the the new comments coming out. Specifically, this one from Kelsey Plumb about the CBA negotiations. And now, when you're at the 11th hour, now everybody's finding. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. Now, Kelsey Plumb and others are finding the positives in the proposal that the WNBA has given. Now, I've said this before. In my opinion, they were never going to get everything they wanted. This is not the deal for them to get everything they wanted. The deal that's going to happen next time, 3-4 years, whenever they decide to come back to the table and renegotiate. That is when you can go for the gusto. Not now, because what's going to happen now is you got 3 to 4 years. Let's say you got 4 years to establish yourself as a consistent revenue stream, a consistent attendance levels, consistent endorsement deals, consistent attention. You get 4 years to prove that you can keep that at a high level. And this is the perfect time because everybody is salty on what's going on in the NBA and taking games off and whining and flopping and everything that's we hate about the NBA. And unfortunately, this is where I put some of the onus on the commissioner. You seeing some of that stuff in the WNBA, and people don't want to see that. Just have the refs do what they're supposed to do. That's period. That's another conversation. But when it comes to Kelsey Plumb, here's the quote that she said, and this sums it up in a nutshell, right? Annie Costabile put this on her post. On the state of the CBA negotiations, Kelsey Plumb said, I want to play, and players want to play. Obviously, we're going to continue to negotiate and do everything we possibly can to get this done in a timely fashion. But a strike would be the worst thing for both sides because we are in a revenue, so no revenue to share. You couldn't think of that earlier? You couldn't, well, whoever, I'll say it again, whoever is leading their negotiations and putting their marketing out on social media and kind of giving the public up to date on what they're doing, that person needs to be fired because some of the stuff they've been putting out is so inflammatory. I think it was a big mistake that they even mentioned the word strike. And that makes me believe that they don't really understand what they're doing. That's just my opinion. And I said it before. Talking about a strike is like having a gun, and you always pulling it, but you never actually pull the trigger. You don't pull it unless you're gonna use it. You don't play around with stuff like that. And again, they've never been in this situation. So maybe they don't know what to do. Do you give them the benefit of the doubt? No. You professionals, you trot it out there with the t-shirts, pay us what you owe and all of that type of stuff. And I understand, go for yours. But there's a way to do it. There is a way to do it. Right or wrong, you gotta play the game. I say that all the time. When the WNBA, the last 2 years, got this level of attention, fandom, coverage, money, everything that came with it, everything that came with this Caitlin Clark effect. They got everything they wanted. it also comes with a dark side. You got to play the game, and the game ain't fair. Now you got people riding everything you say. Now you got other people showing up at these games and heckling you a little bit harder. Now you got all these people on social media that got something to say, and you got to deal with all of it. You talk about we want to be just like the NBA with the money, and then we want to be equal. I understand all of that, but understand you still got to deal with the dark side of it. And it seems to me, in my opinion, that is what they didn't want to deal with. And the whole time, let's talk about the revenue stream. We want, um, you know, we want 30% of gross revenue. And it's like, stop trying to put yourself in the same situation or on the same level as the NBA. That is ludicrous. The NBA has been around a hell of a lot longer. The NBA has more teams, more coverage, more TV deals, all of that kind of stuff, and infinitely longer pockets. You can't do that. And you talking about a strike, you talking about 30% of revenue before anybody else gets paid. And mind you, the league has not made money in 30 years. They made money this year. They triggered an incentive clause because they reach a revenue goal. First time that's happened in 30 years. But what happens to all of those people who have been investing money? Do they not get none of their money back? I know that's a very simplified comment, but you get what I'm saying. Now you in a situation, you getting 5 times your normal salary. You're gonna have max contracts. Y'all will work out the housing and stuff like that. Because in my opinion, if you making 500,000 a year, you pay for your own apartment. I heard what Natasha Cloud said, the price of living in New York and all of that kind of stuff. I agree, but that's still when they bump you up. That I agree. If you making 70,000 and you living in New York, that makes sense. But if you making 500,000, if you making 400,000, you got to learn how to make it work because that's what grown people do. Now, what I think they should do is if the organization wants to provide that or give a stipend or some type of deal or something like that, let them do that. I'm surprised some real estate owner ain't jumped on that in the first place. But uh, you know, real estate is out of my purview. All I'm saying is finally you got some of the people in the WNBA understanding and recognizing like, hey, this is a good deal. We were never going to get 30% that we wanted. I still don't understand why they got stuck on that. Because that was the thing that wasn't going to change. Ain't nobody giving you 30% of everything before they pay anybody. Also, under the umbrella of you've never made money. Now, and I'm looking at it from a standpoint as a fan, somebody on the outside looking in, but I am a fan that did play professional sports. I did play in the NFL. Our league had a strike. I did watch the NBA strike. When was that? In the 90s, I think it was. I saw all of that. So I do have a little context on the situation. I understand it is different, but it's not that different. People want more money. Owners want more money. And you got a megastar in the middle that's causing this tidal wave of attention and money. And hell, the league as a whole even fumbled that. So what they're going to do, I hope they get this deal done. I think they could have figured this out 6 weeks ago. They could have figured this out the first or second week in January. And they still would have had plenty of time to put some stuff on the table, iron out some other things, have an expansion draft, sign all your free agents, all of this kind of stuff. Because now what this is going to do is, because they are in, like it was said, they are in the 11th hour. So now everything they have to do must be rushed. It has to be rushed. And when you got to rush a bunch of shit, that means you're going to make some mistakes. Could have had this done. I wish somebody would have had this point of view 6 weeks ago in the middle of January. Now we in March. Hell, you could have had this state of mind at the beginning of February, and you still would have had 3.5, 4 weeks to get it together. Now everything has to be rushed. And it's still not done. Y'all just talking. So I hope there are more people that have this state of mind, understanding that no, you're not getting what you want, but this is a big stepping stone to the next one. Got to keep that in mind.